Welcome back to the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. So, Jay, Mase and Cameron, they got a show called It Is What It Is, and they cover a myriad of different topics, sports, entertainment, so forth and so on. And they had comments about the fight this past weekend, Shakur Stevenson versus Artem. And I would say that Mase was somewhat critical of Shakur Stevenson. Now, I don't believe that Mase said anything that we hadn't already heard. He said that basically, no disrespect to Brick City, Newark, New Jersey, but he wouldn't want to see Shakur fight again. And and that's all he basically said, Jay. I mean, it was of course criticism because of the performance that we saw from Shakur Stevenson. We know that it didn't appear to be, a performance that many people enjoyed. We did a couple of polls
Yeah.
on it, and for the most part, people thought that the fight was boring, and they blamed Shakur Stevenson for that. So to me, it was fair criticism from Mase, and it wasn't, you know, I didn't feel like there was any animus behind what he had to say. I mean, it was just straight
It
up
wasn't.
analysis of what he saw, right? And his feelings in terms of not wanting to see him perform again based off of that performance. And Shakur Stevenson went off on Twitter, started talking about his failed rap career. And
He's
I mean, he had to
sensitive.
post like two or three tweets about Mace. Yeah, it was a few tweets. And my thing is, this generation of athletes, man, honestly, this generation of just overall, like, men, that grew up, born in, I guess, the late 90s and early 2000s, man, they sensitive. Oh my God, they are so sensitive. Like, you can't say anything about them. You cannot criticize them. And that's a problem because, at the end of the day, when you're a public figure, you're going to be criticized. We're criticized on this channel every single day. In the comment section, we get criticized every day. I don't respond to all of it, but I read a lot of it. And none of it really bothers me, Jay, because I understand that as you make yourself a public figure and you either put your opinion out there or you are a performer and you don't perform well, you will be criticized. And when you make millions of dollars, certainly that come along with the turf, right? And I'm not saying that you need to be like you can be disrespectful to a boxer or an athlete or anything of that nature. That's why we avoid talking about personal lives. That's why we don't call people names and all that other stuff. But the business aspect and or your performance, anything tied to the sport, it's fair game, dog. It's fair game. And so Mace wasn't nasty with what he said, but Shakur came back with a lot of nastiness. Now, Mace, Cameron, both of these gentlemen, they're known to diss, and they can diss with venom. So I would not be surprised if there is a response to Mr. Shakur Stevenson. But if Shakur doesn't want to be criticized in this way, dude, you got to take more risk. Take more risk. You know, like you can't just sit up there and punch only when it is the optimal time to punch, meaning it is the safest time to punch where punches won't come back. Because there's certain times that if he were to punch, he could catch his opponent in between his punch and maybe even get him up out of there. You know what I mean? Maybe even cause more damage, and make it a more exciting fight. But instead, he is always safety first in every single fight. Jay, he's safety first, and at some point, general fans are going to get tired of that. And I mean, are you going to cuss all the people out at Newark that walked out on your fight? Are you mad with them too? You cannot behave in this manner. Change what you're doing, and you will get different results in terms of what people think about you and your performance, Jay. That's just my personal opinion. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, he's mad sensitive. He's mad sensitive about everything, anything. If it's not saying he's the best ever, he gonna be crying and whining and try to go low for it, go low at you. Like you said, Mace and Cam, they petty. they can get you. So he better tread lightly because they gonna come. They gonna have a retort to this. I'm quite sure of that. And Mace didn't say anything bad about Brick City. He didn't say anything bad about Shakur as a person. He just talked about the performance, and that's what you're paying. It's prize fighting. For you to get that prize, you gotta engage the viewership, the people that's paying money to see you. You gotta give them something they want to see, Yeah, we're fans of the sweet science, but what he was doing wasn't necessarily the sweet science. That, to your point, he was just being super safe, and even his corners was telling him what to do to get dude up out of there, and he's arguing with his corner over and over again. Almost every round he's arguing. Or before this, probably up until round 7. Oh, I'm gonna get him up out of here. I'm gonna knock him out. I'm gonna knock him out, and he didn't do it. It's just it, he sells himself so much on Twitter to get in the ring and do a damn near the exact opposite. You can't say you're Money May, because Money May wasn't even doing that. Money May will counter you. He'll pop shot you and counter you and just make you look stupid in there. And he's also countering you. He's in the pocket. He's countering. He's not just hopping back, or he's not just trying to deflect and not throw and return fire. He returned fire. He was a smart fighter. He's one of the smartest defensive fighters out there. The way he fought, but he was also offensive with it as well. He countered your ass. Shakur ain't doing that. He just block, hop back. He's not doing no counters. And if he does, just a 1-2 pity pat. I'm just like, Shakur, what you doing? If you really want to see people to come out and watch you, you got to be engaging, bro. You can't also say F the fans. You can't blame everything on everyone else until you look in that mirror and take some accountability yourself. That's all we ask. We ask that you take accountability for everything that you said on Twitter that you were going to do, you didn't do. Just admit it. You started off fine after the fight against Ghost. De Los Santos, for those that don't know that we call him Ghost. You were like, yeah, I had a bad performance. I go back and look at everything. Then I say you flipped. I was saying, like, I looked at it. That just lets me know how bad an MFer I am. What? You talking about earlier in that interview, said you weren't the only one scared. He was scared too. Then I was saying you acting like you all this big bad dude and trying to make Ghost sound like he's the best thing ever. So just stop, dude. Stop the cap. Humble yourself, bro. You walk around with Bud and Ward, you're not them. If you want to be like Bud, you would have had that killer instinct and got Autumn up out of there. A young man that was on your same fight card wouldn't have lasted. He wouldn't have lasted that long with that. And the young man I'm talking about is Abdullah Mason. Mason would have had that dude up out of there. You're not doing that type of stuff. I'm not saying KOs is everything, but that's what sells fights. And your attitude towards a fan is making people turn off on you, bro. You're a phenomenal talent, but you talk so much on Twitter and you don't deliver. It's turning people off, man. It's gonna make it hard for you to really try to feel like you're worth more than what that deal with Top Rank was offering you. It's gonna make it hard for you to get a better deal than that, bro. So chill on Twitter and put it in the ring. Get back in there. Get back in there. You even said it yourself. I got to work on cutting the ring off. I thought you were the best ever in the ring right now, but you got to work on cutting the ring off. So you can be critical of yourself, but we can't be critical of you based on what you gave us. We're going by what your words and what you did in your performance in the ring. That's all we doing. So that's on you, bro. Get back in the ring. Get back in the lab. Get better and get a better performance for us.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, KOs are not everything, but damage is. People want to see you actually do damage, and I didn't see a whole lot of damage that was done. Now, Artem got on his bike in the 5th round, but we've seen people cut off the ring and still cause damage to people who are on their bike. So he's supposed to be this gifted fighter that's supposed to be in his repertoire. He should be able to do it. And to your point,
Exactly.
on Twitter, he talks a lot, and it's almost like similar to LeBron James and Bronny James, right? A lot of people wouldn't have so much criticism for Bronny James if LeBron James hadn't gone on Twitter, I believe, back in January and said that he knows that Bronny is better than half the dudes in the league or something like that, or he could be on an NBA team, something to that effect. When you say stuff like that, and then he performs at the level that he performed at USC, um, and just when he goes to combine and you find out that he's not 6'3", he's only 6'1.5", those are the things that are going to make people critical because you talk so much. And now you want
Exactly.
to safeguard him. You want people to not be critical of him. You want to stop following people like Kendrick Perkins and things of that nature. That's the kind of stuff that people talk about, right? They're going to be critical. So Twitter,
Twitterson.
Stevenson, sorry, I almost called him Twitterson, but Shakur Stevenson, similarly, you go on Twitter, you talk a lot, and you don't deliver, and people are going to be critical of you. So it is what it is. Uh, I don't. I think people think that when you're critical of them, you don't like it. It's not that people don't. People are going to criticize you when you talk. And I like. I told people in the Discord, I like Shakur's game. It is hit and don't get hit, but that doesn't mean that the fight doesn't have to be exciting.
Entertaining.
They're not mutually exclusive, right? You can actually have both, right? You can hit and not get hit. He ain't doing much hitting. He ain't
Keyshawn
doing
did
much
legit
hitting. That's
better,
the point. The operative word in that is hit. And he's doing a lot of make him miss, right?
but not
But he
pay.
ain't doing a lot of make him pay. And so that's part of the challenge. And hopefully he'll take that message to heed. But he hasn't in the last two fights. Maybe once he gets out there and understand what his true value is, maybe he'll reconsider that. So, Jay, anything else you want to share with the people before we wrap this one up?
Nah, let's go Twitterson. Let's get it done, man. I need you to do better in the ring, bro. Need you to do what you're saying in on Twitter in the ring.
Facts. You guys let us know what you think in the comment section in regards to this back and forth between Mase. Well, I can't even call it a back and forth right now until Mase or Cameron responds. But let us know what you think. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and we are out.